Alright guys, welcome to this tutorial on 10 tips and tricks for the Zoom host. Since COVID-19 and the use of Zoom has skyrocketed, a lot of pressure has been imposed on persons who are hosts for the Zoom meetings. Not many persons realize the kind of stress that these people go under and the challenges they face. And so I prepared this series of videos on 10 tips for Zoom hosts. I mean, there are many other things that they could look at, but I believe that these 10 things will help to make the life of a Zoom host much easier and can run a meeting with less glitches. Alright, so please enjoy these videos. Okay, so first up on the list of features for Zoom host is one of my favorite. It's called Mute All. That's where the host gets to mute all the meeting participants, because as you know, we have challenges sometimes with persons talking out of terms or having their audio on without knowing it. Some persons do it unknowingly and we get feedback in the background. Sometimes it's just a case where somebody comes onto the meeting and forget to mute their microphone, and it creates serious interruption, especially when a presentation is going on. So to access this feature, first you probably will need to turn it on in your Zoom account. So once you log into your Zoom account, you go to settings and you look for the feature that talks about mute participants upon entry. Make sure it is turned on. Okay? And so when it's turned on, while you're in a meeting, you'll see this button turned on here that says mute all. You click on it and make sure that this item is unchecked. That says allow participants to unmute themselves. You'll uncheck that. That means you have total control over when persons are muted. Gives you lots of power, but it also gives you lots of responsibility, especially if the meeting is very huge. One of the things you can do to overcome that is that you can usually, in a larger meeting with more participants than can hold here, a search feature, a search box will come up. You can search for the participants, or you can also decide to use this mute all feature while a presentation is going on. But once the presentation has ended, you open up so that persons can share. But it's a very useful tool for meeting hosts. Okay, so the second on the list of features that are critical and useful to a Zoom meeting host is what I call the breakout rooms, or the breakout rooms. This feature is very useful in situations where, for example, in a church setting, you need to have different classes going on, Sabbath school classes or Bible classes. Maybe you have a class for children, a class for youth, and different adult groups. Maybe in a school setting, you have breakout groups. A teacher wants to allow students to have discussions. This is useful. Or in a church setting, maybe you want to, or any meeting setting, you want to have a quick discussion with the leading participants just before you go into the meeting. A breakout room can serve well for that. So let's quickly go. I have my Zoom meeting open here. And again, that feature needs to be enabled in your Zoom account. So let's go. Once you go to your Zoom account, you go to settings, and again, Zoom has so many features. You have to do a search. You search for breakout, and there you go, breakout room. This needs to be enabled. Okay, and allow hosts to assign participants to breakout rooms when scheduling. That means it could have been done before the meeting even started. So let's close, and I have it enabled here, and I click on breakout room, and I will decide to do it manually. Let's say I want 2 rooms. I currently only have 4 participants, so I'm going to do 2 rooms. And one of the things you can do is to name the room. So I'm going to call this one, let's call this Youth Sabbath School. And we call this one Adult Sabbath School. When you have breakout rooms, you will still have your main room where people come in. So persons will still be able to come into the main room. And once that happens, then you begin, the next thing to do is you want to assign people to those rooms. All right. So currently, I can assign everyone else outside of myself. So for this room, I'm going to assign 2 persons. I'm going to use my phone and assign, right? And once you click assign, well, you haven't opened the breakout room as this. So let me assign my tablet to that other room, and then I click open all rooms. The persons should get a notification to say join room. So let me get my phone, right? So let me say open breakout rooms, and you're seeing it in progress. Let me see if I can. Okay, so I'm going to accept the invitation, join, and you should notice that I should be seen in the breakout room. So there you go. We have a green button, a green icon that comes up beside it, say I am in the room. All right. Then I'm going to accept from my tablet, right? And so we are in that breakout room. I'm going to join one of the rooms and show you what will happen when that happens. So let's click as the host. You can move from room to room. You can even move people, okay, to a different room, right? So let's join this room right here. Okay. So the only persons you should see there are myself as a host and my phone. Okay. To prove that, let me open my video on my phone, and you'll see that I'm holding my phone as the next person in that breakout room, while other persons are in the other rooms. The next thing about this is that you can leave the room, right? And as the host, you can you should be able to close all the breakout sessions, but not from this menu. But let me just leave the room. Make sure it's not the meeting that you leave or end the meeting. Okay. All right. So there I have Roxanne joining this breakout room. Welcome, Roxanne. So this would be like a Sabbath school class by itself, or a meeting session by itself. So let me leave this room, right? And I'm going to go back to the main room. And in the main room, you'll notice it's just me, right? Because Roxanne and Damian phone are in the Youth Sabbath School class, and the tablet is in the adult. So let me join the adult Sabbath School class, and I should find my tablet in there. All right, just me and the tablet talking with each other. Okay. Let me leave this room. And then once you're done, let's say Sabbath school is over and you want everybody to get back to the main room, you can say close all rooms. Okay? You can type a message that will be broadcast to all the room to say, listen, you have 5 minutes remaining to complete discussions. and your broadcast. All right, so I'm seeing that on my phone, and other persons should see it wherever they are. Okay, very useful feature. As I mentioned earlier, let's close the breakout rooms, and once I close, person should click on the button that says leave now, and they get back into the room. Otherwise, the Zoom is giving them just about a minute to get back into the main room. All right, very useful feature again. Okay guys, welcome again to another in a series of tips and tricks and features for Zoom host. We are at feature number 3, and we're talking about polling, which is a feature that helps you to get feedback from your audience. You're having a Zoom meeting and you want a quick feedback from individuals in terms of rating an item. So for example, you want to know who are the persons, you want to know if persons have signed up for something that you're requesting them to sign up for. All right, let's go. The first thing you'll need to do is to enable this feature in your Zoom account. On the settings in Meeting Basic, you have polling, and you must turn on this feature. Okay, and once the feature is turned on, then in your Zoom meeting you will have polls right here in the poll section. As an admin, you can do it. I have one created here already, but let me edit. If one was not created, the button there would be add poll, so you can give it a title. Let's say free offer response. You can enable anonymous. That means that you will allow the persons to give feedback to the poll anonymously. Maybe let's say you're doing a vote. Okay, so let's say, did you sign up for the free offer? And in this case, you want a single response. It's gonna either be yes or no. Okay, and then you click save. You could add another question there, but let's click save. And once you do that, that poll should be available in your call. Once you click poll, you see it's there, and launch poll. And once you launch poll, your users will see it come up, and they'll click. I'm gonna click no and click submit on my phone, and then I'm going to do yes on my tablet, and you'll see the result that so far we have 50% each for each option, right? And you click end poll to close. Usually when you're recording the meeting, this information should be available in the end of meeting result. Let's say share results. You can share the results with the participants, and they'll see what the results are. All right, this feature again is useful for feedback. It's useful for taking a vote. Matter of fact, we can quickly do another poll. That, let's say you're taking a vote on meeting location. So you're saying, okay, what location, what is your preferred location for the next meeting? And you have, let's say, Montego Bay, and you want it in, somebody wants it in Kingston, or you want it in Mandeville, or you want it in Spanish Town. And then you say save, and again this poll should be available in your meeting. All right, and you launch poll. Again, person seat come up. I'm choosing Montego Bay on my phone, and I'm choosing Mandeville on my tablet. And you notice again, they get those 2 votes. And you can end poll and again share results. All right, very useful feature. Okay guys, welcome to feature number 4 in this series of tips and tricks for the Zoom host, and we're talking about sharing your screen. All right, sharing your screen is something that the host will do or will allow someone else to do. Let me start with you sharing your screen. Okay, so let's say you have a PowerPoint, because that's the most used feature, and you're going to be sharing your screen. Now, this is a PowerPoint presentation that you have, let's say you have, that you're going to share. Let me first up say that it's technically, well, it's not impossible, but it's very inconvenient to be trying to share your screen when you only have one screen. All right, because most times as a presenter you'd want to use the presenter view to be able to see the slide that's coming up before, and so if you only have one screen, you're going to find yourself in a situation where that's the screen you have to be sharing with the people, and then you can't see the other side that's coming up, so, and you can't see Zoom. So it's best always to have a dual screen setup. Let me try to see if I can show you. Well, in my setup here I have a different monitor that's attached to my computer through a HDMI connection, and I'm looking at that screen while I'm using my laptop for the Zoom. So that's the ideal setup for sharing your screen. So what I do now is that when I'm going to run this PowerPoint, okay, if you notice, what you're seeing is what I would normally see as a presenter, which is a presenter view. So I can see the slide, the screen that's coming up next, right? I'm seeing the current one that people are supposed to be seeing, and I'm seeing the one that's coming up next. That's a presenter view. But on my monitor, let me see if I can show it to you. On my monitor, I am seeing what the folks in Zoom are going to be seeing. All right, I've not shared my screen as yet, so I'm going to be going to do that. So let's minimize that and then share screen, and then I want them to see screen 2, which is what I just showed you. Okay, and I click share. So while I'm sharing screen 2, okay, I have this screen, which you're actually seeing now, available still for whatever else I'm going to do. So for example, I'm going to bring up the presenter view on it and then use it to navigate to my next slide, or I could use it for looking at my Zoom meeting and doing chat and stuff while I'm presenting. I have total control over that. All right, I can even modify the slides while the presentation is going on. I can browse through the slides while they are seeing my screen. Okay, so that's when you are, as the host, is sharing your screen. Let's stop sharing and minimize the PowerPoint. When you want other persons to share their screen, okay, you can either select the option that says multiple participants can share simultaneously, which means that anyone in the room can share their screen. Right? You can turn on that feature, or you can decide to make someone else a co-host. Okay, so let's say you're going to decide to make, I'm going to make my phone a co-host. Yes. And then I'm going to, from my phone, attempt to share my screen in the meeting, right? And you'll notice that I am sharing my screen from my phone, okay? Because that you allowed me to do that. So let me stop sharing again, right? And I can withdraw co-host permission when I'm done. All right, so that's the way you share your screen and allow others to share their screen. Another important aspect of sharing is if you're sharing your screen and you also want to share a video that has audio with it. Let me quickly show you how to do that. You go again, share screen. Let's say you have a YouTube video. You click on this, the video that you want to share, and also click share computer audio so that the persons in the meeting can get the audio also. All right, and that's so you share so that persons can hear.
All right. Let me say happy Sabbath to you all, and welcome to your devotional.
All right. Alright guys, greetings and welcome to feature number 5 in the series of tips and tricks for the Zoom host. We're talking today about the live streaming your meetings. So you're having a meeting or you're having a webinar that you have persons inside, but you also want to stream to a social media platform. That's possible. Again, as usual, one of the first places to go to set that up is in your Zoom account. So usually your first thing you want to do is to enable that feature in your Zoom account. It's on the in meeting advanced. You should find live streaming. Okay, you should enable, say allow live streaming. You could choose which ones you want to allow, whether you want to allow Facebook, Workplace, YouTube, or custom, and you can leave some instructions there for the custom live streaming that the person in meeting will see. Once you do that, when you're scheduling a meeting also, you can set up your live streaming. So for example, here's a sample meeting that I created. Once the meeting has been scheduled, you can go to live streaming and you can enter your custom settings that you're planning to use, which I've already entered. I'm using Caster as the custom stream, where I'll use the multi-stream. So once that is set, then let me show you how to set up those features. Let me do edit, and usually most streaming platforms will provide you with a URL, a stream key, and this live streaming page URL, there's nothing much to it. What this link does is that when you start to stream inside your meeting, participants within the meeting can use that link to share where the stream is going. So this could be one of the platforms that you're streaming to. Let's say you're multi-streaming to Facebook and YouTube. You could use the link to Facebook stream and paste it there. All right, or the one in YouTube, whichever one you choose. And once you click save, then you go to your meeting and you click live on custom live streaming service. All right, and it should bring up a screen it says preparing to live stream and setting up your meeting for custom streaming. Once it goes live, I'll show you where. Okay, so what it did, it actually went to the link that I shared, which is a YouTube channel for streaming, but the live feed should be going into my Caster account right here. It's coming through. These are the settings that I shared. Right, so I can now turn on the stream to all the platforms that I've added to Caster. I could add more platforms, but I have to wait there now. All right, so that's how you live stream to a custom stream link. All right, guys, welcome again to feature number 6 in our series of videos on tips and tricks for the Zoom host. We're talking about changing views, and that's an important one because it follows up on our live streaming presentation or live streaming or meeting, because what you're going to find is that when you're live streaming, you want to, even though you're within the meeting and you could share everything in the meeting, fine, but for me personally, I still want to decide what goes out to the public or to the streaming, or I want, if I'm doing a webinar, what goes out to the attendees. Okay, so right now I am in gallery view. That means all the participants in the meeting can be seen on a screen like this. If it was maybe 100 participants, you would have seen little blocks of individuals' screens on the screen, and it's showing. And if it wasn't, if other persons had turned on your video, so let me turn on my video on the phone, and let me turn it on the tablet. Okay, so that's my phone, that's my tablet. When you look at the stream, you'll notice right here, let me bring it up, this is a stream that's coming through Caster. So that's gallery view, so you're seeing everybody on your video. Okay, that might be okay if maybe you have a panel of 2 or 3 or 4 persons to do a presentation, but if you have 100 persons, for some persons like myself, that's not okay. So when you're streaming, you can keep it on speaker view, which means that only the person who is speaking will be seen. So let me turn on my video on the let me mute here so I won't get, let me just turn on my audio on the getting that feedback, but you're noticing now that it's coming through from my tablet. Alright, so that is how speaker view helps to keep it real where the presentation is concerned. Usually there's a feature in Zoom that allow you to turn off, to say you want to only see the video participant. Alright, so if you turn off the videos of the others, they won't show. Okay, another feature is that you can spotlight a video, right? Which means that this is a video that will show up all the time in the stream, or what the participants will be seeing. Let me bring it up here. Right, so that's a video that's shown all the time, a spotlighting video. You can also pin a video, right? So let's say you as a host, you are not the one who is to be seen. Maybe you are the one monitoring the whole technical stuff, but let's say the person on my phone is the one who needs to be shown. I could spotlight their video, or I could pin their video to make sure that they are the ones who are going out on the stream. I bring that up again. I think pin video is also one that is seen, but if I want that person to be seen, I need to spotlight the video. Alright, and that's the video that will come up in the stream. Pinning the video is for you, for your own personal use when you're on a Zoom, but the spotlight video will allow this person to be seen in the stream. Alright, so that's basically it regarding the different views. Alright guys, welcome to video number 7 in our series of videos on tips and tricks for video hosts, for Zoom hosts. We're talking now about controlling access to the meeting, and there are several things that needs to be done where this is concerned. Alright, the first thing you want to do is to go to your Zoom meeting. Controlling access is very important, especially for security reasons. Let's go to where you schedule your meeting. Let's go to this one. We can edit this meeting, and the first part of controlling access is to require registration. Registration will allow persons to have to sign up for the meeting, and then a link will be sent to them by email that they use to join the meeting. Usually registration is done for the purpose of collecting data where after meeting activities are concerned, or maybe if this is a recurring meeting, what registration will do is to allow you to be able to, well, Zoom will automatically send reminders to the persons who are attending this meeting. Let's do that. Let's record. Let's say it's at a recurring meeting for let's say 7 days occurrences, and then require registration, right? Right, we'll keep it at that, and we save. What this will do, it will allow us to have options for setting up having some email settings, right, where persons will receive an email upon registration, and we can actually go in and make changes to that setting. So these are the default settings that they'll have, but I can add other information to the email that they'll receive once they have registered for the webinar, or for the meeting, sorry. And I can decide what email I want to use as the contact that they'll see in the email. I can even set the registration branding. I can decide what logo to put there when the person show up. Let's say I want a graphic, this type of graphic to go there that will be seen. Well, you're telling me that image is smaller than what is required, but the point is that you can set a banner and you can set a logo to brand your meeting. All right, then you can view the list of persons who are registered for the service. If this was a webinar, other features would have been available regarding the type of emails that would be sent out. You have email that will be sent to them 1 day before the meeting, or 1 hour before the meeting, or 1 week before the meeting, and so on. But you would find that in the emailing settings. So that's it for registration. Yes. Let's go now to password. Again, you can require well, because I'm only editing one of the meeting, that's why it's not allowing me to change that setting, right? So you can require a password, right, to keep out those you want to keep out, and you share that password only with the person that you want to be in the meeting. In such settings like a classroom setting, you'd want to use that feature to make sure that only the students of that class join the meeting. Another feature to manage access to the meeting is to whether or not you're going to enable join before host. When you enable join before host, it actually allows persons, once they get the link for that meeting, to actually open up the meeting even before the designated start time, and they are there. That's a feature you want to enable, I guess, if you trust the participants that you have invited. Let's say it's a family meeting. They can be there and they're talking to each other before you come in. But in a setting where you're going to have strangers, that's not a recommended setting to have on. Then you want to enable waiting room. What enable the waiting room does is that when persons would have been seeking access to the meeting, let's demonstrate that, by the way. So my tablet is not current in the meeting. Once you enable waiting room and I attempt to join the meeting, what you're going to have is a situation where you notice it says one person is waiting, right? And as the host, you have the privilege of admitting that person to the meeting or let them wait for some time, and you click admit and they are in the meeting. All right, that's it for managing access to the meeting. The other feature that was there about only authenticated users can join, that has to do with the password and authentication, password and registration that you would have set up earlier. Okay. Okay guys, welcome to feature number 8 in our list of tips and tricks for Zoom hosts. And we're talking about controlling chat during a meeting. There are some situations where you want to turn off private chat. One scenario I can think of is for teachers who want students to not be able to chat one-on-one during the class. And to control that, you would need to go into your Zoom account and in settings and in meeting advanced, you want to find private chat, and well, it's found in meeting basic really. You'd want to turn off this feature, and once it's turned off, it says allow meeting participants to send a private one-on-one message to another participant. Once that is turned off, persons cannot do private chat. Again, this is maybe useful for teachers who are teaching and want to prevent their students from doing private chat. All right. All right, guys. Here's another useful tip for the Zoom host. Another short one. We're talking about the idea of assigning other persons as hosts or co-hosts. We hinted earlier on about the reason might have for that, whether you want somebody to be able to share their screen, but beyond sharing their screen, maybe you as the host or the owner of the Zoom don't have the capability or the time or the ability during the meeting to manage the meeting. So you want to designate that to somebody else. Manage the meeting meaning managing the muting and unmuting. You can go to participants and assign somebody else to be the host or the co-host. I think co-host gives them some pretty high privileges and they can help you to manage the meeting. All right, that's basically it. Okay, our final feature in our 10 tips for Zoom host is the matter of recording your meeting. All right, this could be for teachers who need to record the meeting so that their students can have access to the recorded material, or maybe you're having a meeting and for the purpose of documentation you want to record, or you're having a training and you want a meeting to be recorded so that persons can benefit from the recording. Usually again, it's good to access these stuff inside your Zoom account in terms of enabling them and making certain decisions about how you go about them. So let's say when you're going into your meeting, let's say it's a new meeting, test recording, right? And we leave the dates and stuff as is, and we go down to the section that speaks to recording the meeting automatically. All right, you can check that and you can decide where you're going to record, because video content is very costly in terms of space. So most times you might have a limited account, and Zoom allows maybe starting at 1 gigabyte in terms of cloud recording. So maybe you can't record all your meetings on Zoom Cloud. Let me start with Zoom Cloud. One of the reasons you want to record on Zoom Cloud is that when you record on Zoom Cloud, once the meeting is over, you will receive a link, or a link will be provided that you can use to share that link with the participants automatically, and they can watch the meeting, all right, from the cloud without you doing anything else to upload or anything like that. But let's say you're low on cloud space and you want to manage that process of uploading the video to your YouTube channel maybe and making it accessible to others. You can record on your local computer, and usually once the meeting ends, a folder will be opened with the video, the audio, and if you choose to record the chat, that will be included. And you usually find those files in your documents folder on your computer and in a folder called Zoom, and there you're gonna see previously recorded meetings. So you have the video, you have the audio, and another file that has the playback, right? Some may have the chat if you choose to record the chat. So let's look for that feature to record the chat during a meeting, right? So you say auto saving chat. So it says automatically save all in meeting chats so that hosts do not need to manually save the chat text of the chat after the meeting starts. So you can do that, and once that is enabled, the chat will be included in the recording of the meeting. All right. And now once those things are enabled, now during the meeting, if you didn't set it to automatically record, you can say record meeting, and you can choose to say on my computer, and this will send a notification to all your participants to say that this meeting is being recorded. Do you want to stay in the meeting or do you want to go? Because really, you should really get the participants before you start recording. All right, you can pause the recording if you want some content to be left out and continue it, and you can stop the recording at any time you choose. But once the meeting ends, the recording will be stored. It will take some time to transcode it and store it on your computer or on the cloud, depending on which you choose. Thank you for watching.